we deal with the COVID-19 situation that we find ourselves in at the moment. Lots of people are asking about how do I go about putting my lessons online, how do I make them more interactive, how can I make my classroom in this digital age more like my classroom at school. So the particular area of differentiation that we're going to look at today is this area here, and I've got this chair just to remind me it's all about fixed seat timing, which is what we tend to have in our normal classrooms. Now, with digital online resources that we have the ability to make flexible paced learning and get rid of that fixed seat timing in our lessons, because we can record the lessons and we have the ability to deliver lessons to youngsters so that they can pause, stop, ask questions, answer questions, etc. during the lesson. So we can really customize the lessons to the youngsters. Now, possibly the easiest way of any of us doing that is to use a tool that's in PowerPoint, and it's actually found in PowerPoint in the slideshow icon at the top. So I'm going to show you how we can do that in our lessons. Word of warning on this one before we actually start with it. Not everyone wants to hear themselves or see themselves online. This is by no means something that we're saying to you every member of staff has to do. You have to make the choice as to whether you think this is something that you'd like to do and something that your youngsters would benefit from. Please don't go about reinventing the wheel and doing extra work that you wouldn't do on a normal basis. We're just having to adapt, and we're having to change the way in which we teach. So what I've done is I've opened up a lesson of mine, and this one happens to be an A-level PE lesson that I've prepared in advance, and the icon that I'm going to along the top scroll bar is slideshow. I click on top of the slideshow icon, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this button here, which is called record slideshow. When I click on record slideshow, it's actually going to start a recording for me, and it's going to set me up. Before I actually start to record what's been said, there are a few features and functions that you need to be aware of. The first feature and function to be aware of is at the bottom here. So the first thing I've done is I'm checking that my mic is on. Now, this particular icon here is the picture of a microphone. You can see it doesn't have a strike through it, so it is actually on, and it's just recording my voice at this moment in time. The next icon that I'm going to move to is the camera. Now, this we need to be really, really careful with. If I turn the camera on and I turn my camera preview on, you can actually see me. Hello everyone, how are you today? Please be aware that anything that you choose to put on the web is going to stay on the web. And obviously that means that we are giving the youngsters opportunities to abuse the privileges that we give them. So I would strongly recommend that you don't video yourself. So the first thing I would do is I'd turn my in-screen picture off, and I'd turn my camera off so that the youngsters aren't seeing a picture of me as I'm presenting. Types of abuse that you might find that you're open to if you do decide to do this online is very popular memes are used, and you can actually search for these memes on Instagram as we speak. If you just put in Bishop Luffer memes, you will see there's lots of quite cruel pictures and videos that have been put online already. So we just need to be aware of that, and just please be aware of whenever you put something online, there is the opportunity that it will be abused. Other features, I can change my settings at the top here. I can clear anything I've recorded if I don't like the sound of my own voice. If I don't like what I've said because I've stuttered or stumbled over what's been said, I can simply press clear and start again. Notes pages, any notes that you've made on a particular slide, you can turn the notes on and they can appear here at the top of the screen. I've got three buttons here. I've got record, stop and replay. What you will notice is at the moment it's just the record button is on red, which tells me that I'm ready to start my lesson, but I haven't started recording yet. As soon as I click this red button, you'll notice that the stop button will highlight in a particular colour. So I'm actually going to start this lesson now. At the bottom of the screen, as I go through, I've got an eraser tool, I've got a pen tool, I've got a highlighter tool, and various different colours. So this all acts as an interactive whiteboard that I can use during the lesson. So get a countdown timer that counts me in, Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's lesson, which is on the neuromuscular system. Please write down the title now in the front of your exercise books. Our starter activity for today, we've got an exam question on the board. As you can see, the exam question is 3 marks, so it's going to take a total of 3 minutes. In PE, we know that each mark that's provided approximately counts for 1 minute on the exam paper. So, very quickly, gymnasts have to change the position of their body when performing a somersault during a gymnastics floor routine. Name the muscle fibre predominantly used by a gymnast during a floor routine and state the functional characteristics to allow these muscles to produce this type of movement. If you want to stop the presentation now, press pause, time yourself for 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, press pause now. So I'm going to give the youngsters a few moments in order to write down their question. And hello, welcome back. Now let's have a look and green pen those answers that you've put in place. So looking at this question very carefully, it's all about gymnastics and it's all about a floor routine. So I want to actually start to think about a floor routine. So a floor routine in gymnastics is going to last for 90 seconds. You can see I'm not very good here with this pad in the center of the board. Might be a good idea to invest in a pen which allows me to write. So it's going to last for 90 seconds, and because it lasts for 90 seconds, we're going to say it's 90 seconds of high intensity exercise. So it's going to be an anaerobic muscle fiber. We've got 2 different types of muscle fibers. We've got a type 2A, which we know is a powerful muscle fibre which lasts for a reasonable length of time, up to 3 minutes worth of time. And we've got a type 2B fibre, or now known as a type 2X fibre. And a type 2X fibre is very powerful, doesn't utilise oxygen whatsoever, and will produce powerful contractions for approximately 10 seconds of use. Now, for this particular answer, the answer that we want is a type 2A, fast oxidative glycotic fibre. That would get you 1 mark. The next feature that I want to look at in this particular answer is we're asked about functional characteristics. Now remember, muscle fibres have structural characteristics, what they look like, and functional characteristics, what they do. So you can see there I'm starting to talk through my answer. If I had a pen, I could be putting green pen points here on the board for the youngsters to start green penning their work. Alternatively, it may have been that I've already prepared my PowerPoint with the answers to come up. But you can see how I'm working through the answers with the youngsters. The other thing in my notes pages at the top here, I happen to know that I've already put the answers in the top, so I could actually use my notes pages to look at what those answers are to help me actually start to formulate the answers with the youngsters. Next thing that I'm going to go to in my particular PowerPoint, as with any of my lessons, I've always got my learning objectives prepared. In PE, we basically, on a theory side, we have 3 assessment objectives. I know some other subjects, such as English, they might have 5 to 8 assessment objectives that they're trying to achieve. But from a PE perspective, what we're always looking at is knowing, applying, and evaluating or analysing. Now this particular lesson, you can see that the assessment objectives that I'm trying to work on, the assessment objectives in red, which are the know-its, and I want to know what a motor unit is, and my application of this be able to explain how a motor unit is used to create a fast twitch, or to create a twitch, sorry. Down this side of the screen here, where you can maybe just about see my cursor moving. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay, make it a little bit bigger here. These are the types of features that my youngsters are learning within this particular topic. So the functions that we're looking at today, we're looking at the role of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, the role of motor units. So it may be that I can choose to highlight that straight away. So I've got my highlighter pen out and I'm highlighting on my screen what it is that the youngsters are trying to learn in today's lesson. As you can see, I've got animations in place on this one. The next thing, I want to recap on what was previously learned. I know I said that I wanted to kill several birds with one stone. Well, one of the questions that's come up in leadership meetings or in team leader meetings and head of faculty meetings is this use of Vespa. And we know that the sixth form use a lot of Vespa. I'm going to focus on the S, which is systems, and I'm going to say to the youngsters, okay, so when I think about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system, what I want to be thinking about is fight or flight, rest and relax. Fight or flight is this idea that if someone suddenly surprises you or jumps out on you, you basically have two instincts. One of those instincts is to hit out and fight them. The other instinct is to run. Me personally, I would probably run. With the parasympathetic system in the body is all about relaxation and resting. So my parasympathetic system takes over in my body when I want to stop exercising, and it's all about relaxing and bringing my body back to its normal homeostasis, whereas the sympathetic nervous system is all about getting me ready for something, getting me engaged. Now, notice here that I've got some dual coding in use. I've got some pictures along with the particular wording that I've got in play, and I'm actually then trying to utilize that. And this is just a recap of previous learning. I move on to my next slide where I might be presenting a particular topic. Today's particular topic is what is a motor neuron and what does it do? Now, again, I'm explaining using Vespa exactly what's going on. Motor, movement. So I'm trying to link those two features together. I've got my definition here at the top because this is something that I want these youngsters to know at the end of the lesson. Remember, know it. What was a motor unit? Here is highlighted straight away in my particular lesson. And then I'm saying a little bit more information about that. And I'd be talking through what the different parts of the motor unit are at this stage. The final thing that I'm going to show you in this particular presentation is the fact that lessons, we want to try to give youngsters choices rather than just talking at them the whole time. So I've done my talking, my initial stuff for the beginning of the lesson. I'm now going to ask the youngsters to choose one of two tasks. I've got some self-paced learning, which is the Everlearner, which you can learn about and look at on our CPD page, or I've got my next one, which is the youngsters actually working through the rest of these slides and taking notes. I'm happy at this stage that I'm probably at the stage now where I can finish my presentation for the day. Let's just imagine that I've presented my homework. Obviously that's on Frog where the youngsters can see it. So I'm going to stop my presentation. Next thing that I do, as soon as I've stopped it, I've now got two buttons highlighted. I can choose to record again, or I can replay what's already been recorded. So I'm just going to replay it from the start. Presentation for the day. Let's just imagine that I've presented my... Immediately there, you see that I've got a problem, haven't I? I've pressed replay, and actually it's only replaying this particular slide. So if I wanted to watch my presentation from the start, I'm actually going to have to go back right to the start of the presentation in order to do it. Now, at this stage, I have this presentation. It's on my computer. Whenever we produce a video presentation, we need to recognize it's going to take up substantially more space than just a normal presentation. The video actually has to be embedded into the system. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to save this presentation that I've done. So I click on close and I go to File, Save As. I'm going to choose the particular place that the video is going to go to. I'm going to ask it to go to videos on my computer. And I actually don't want to save it as a PowerPoint presentation. I actually want to save it as a video format presentation. So the video formats that I've got there, I've got various different things that I could use. I've got a GIF format. I've got a Windows Media video. That's a WMV video for anyone that's ever come across that at the end of the presentation. I've got an MPEG 4. I'm going to choose to save this one in an MP4 format. It is one of the most common formats and the easiest one to use. If I really need to change it, I can use what's called a converter tool as well. So I'm going to save it as an MP4 file. I've got my particular lesson here, which is saved, and I'm going to click save. Now, it's going to take a long time for this particular file to buffer. So that's a big warning that comes with any of these video presentations, is they take up memory space and they take quite a long time to actually get ready. You can see here at the bottom of the screen, it's actually already creating that video for me ready to use. At the end of the day, then what I'm going to do with that video is I'm then going to go to files, which is where I asked it to save, and click here, and I'm going to find that video that's been made is actually there where I asked it to be saved. It's going to take a little bit of time to get ready. You can see it's done 0 bytes at this moment in time, but it will be ready to use later on. And that presentation I can then embed, I can put into my Frog page at a later date. Probably the best way to do this is to